name Skylar Thompson. That would be hilarious.
Sounds like someone who doesn't like twisted teas. That's all I know.
Skylar Thompson definitely probably would not like twisted teas.
And if you don't like twisted teas, I don't like you.
If you don't like twisted teas, there's no way you're tuning in for episode 200. Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk. Brad, Dan, you're both here, all three of us, the trio. Brad, how are you?
Dude, I am doing well. I'm doing fantastic. A little bummed that the Steelers didn't make the playoffs, but man, we have a lot to build on going into next year. So I'm happy. I'm excited.
Dan, what's up, man?
Life is pretty decent, but regarding my sports teams, the Raiders are in the freaking dumpster again for 20 plus years in a row, and Michigan kind of broke my heart there at the end. But it's wild card weekend, and it's gonna be a fun weekend regardless.
Yeah, NFL football is still upon us. It's going to be the playoff picture. That's what we're breaking down today. Real quick, just a shout out to 200. 200 is not possible. Episode 25 isn't possible if I don't bring on Brad and start what is now what, Real Talk is. And then obviously somewhere around episode 40, we bring in Dan, the Michigan pod, the NFL pod, just everything that's going down. Thank you to both of you. Obviously, you guys, I've told you guys what you guys mean to me and what this pod means to me. But episode 200, here we fucking are, dude, and it's not stopping anytime soon. So,
right. Just like yesterday, we were doing the AFC West 3. I swear.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this as I started to drive home. I was like, I need to text these guys to see if there's a time frame because we went 2 hours plus on the AFC West. So I'm like, you never know.
Yeah, waking up on Sundays and looking forward to the live podcast to get people in there and just doing your research on the recap, and you feel so up to date on sports, and I love talking about them. You do too, Dan, as well. That's what makes this podcast fun. That's what makes it easy. Essentially, you're just out here shooting crap, and we love that you guys listen. So 200, soon it'll be 2,000.
Yeah. We move on to very soon. We're going to be into season 4 right after the Super Bowl, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, it's a fun ride, but here we are talking more NFL. That's what we usually like to do. It's always great to have Dan on talking NFL too, get another perspective outside of just me and Brad. Obviously the Patriots got eliminated this weekend, so all you're going to get from me is my Tom Brady homerness, which you get that every episode. So, first thing, Black Monday, lots of coaches fired. That's very typical. Some of them, they didn't even wait till Monday. They fired them in season. The Broncos, the Colts, the Texans, the Cardinals, the Panthers all have openings. Lots of good coaches, lots of good coordinators. Ultimately, I think one thing we agree on, all the teams that have a coaching open, is they're all pretty much bad. Some may be underachieving, but mostly bad. Brad, is there a job, without giving coaching names or anything, is there a job that you think right now between the Broncos, the Colts, the Texans, the Cardinals, the Panthers is the most attractive?
Gosh, I guess there's reasons for all of them, but I personally think that the Cardinals have a good quarterback. He's going to be coming off of a knee injury, but quarterback is always a huge question. I think roster-wise, but missing the quarterback is the Colts. So those two jump out. But I also think the Panthers, if you look at what's going to happen when Tom Brady leaves, I think that's the most open division, ready to be taken over by someone, over the next 5-10 years. It's very open. So I look at those three right off the bat. But if I had to lock it in, I think with the amount of quarterbacks coming out of the draft, and some of the quarterbacks you're going to be seeing available in free agency, such as Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, available quarterbacks, I think the Colts would have to be the most attractive job. That's a division that the winner was 9-8 this year. I think if you can find the quarterback, and if you're a good coach, that roster alone is good enough to just compete immediately.
Dan, is there a job that you think is least enjoyable, least admirable?
Man, I probably I didn't want to say I was. If I had to say maybe a runner-up to what Brad said, though, I would have probably said Broncos. I know Russell Wilson didn't have a great season, so that would probably be my 1B. But for my least, it may probably be let's say the Texans.
Yeah.
There's so much work there to be done. And, was Devin McCauley was the interim?
Lovie Smith was the he took over the job.
Okay, right, but I felt like previously before Lovie Smith, I felt like even though the record might not show, I really felt like they fought the head coach. And speaking of Lovie Smith, I think because he's 65 years old and he hasn't had success since Chicago, I think that's probably his last time he's ever head coach in the NFL.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, Lovie Smith's probably done. And I said this on the pod with Brad when we were talking about Lovie Smith, and this is nothing against Lovie Smith. This was back. Obviously, there was some bunch of head coach openings, and the Brian Flores situation came down.
Mm-hmm.
In Houston, I felt rushed and just hired a black coach to kind of just clear their name.
Yeah.
And me and Brad both agreed there are better black coaches than Lovie Smith right now, and I felt like they rushed it, and it was only a 1-year rental. Brad agreed at the time. Do you still agree that it was kind of always felt like a 1-year rental?
Yeah, and I still feel like coaches who may be looking for it off the top of my head, Eric Bieniemy on the offensive side, Brian Flores on the defensive side, I think they're both good head coaches. I mean, you look at what happened to Miami. They were really bad. Brian Flores brought them all the way up to 9-8, fired. Well, Mike McDaniel is really good, and then they fell down to 9-8. I'm sure he's going to be just fine. So it's interesting to see how that goes, and I know there was a lot of stuff on the side. But yeah, I agree, and I don't think anybody would push back that the Houston Texans would be the least favorable job there. To nod to what you said about the Broncos, though, the only reason I push back is, one, we don't know how the rest of the roster stands with that quarterback. It looked better after the head coaching fire, so maybe the right head coach could make it work.
Mm-hmm.
I just, you always believe in yourself and your team and your quarterback, but the AFC is the tougher conference. And do you want to join the Chargers and Chiefs in that division? And now you do have a rich owner who's willing to spend the money, it looks like, in their new ownership. But I think for a lot of reasons, you could find good things on all 4 jobs. And a 5th one if some other ones come open. But the Texans just don't seem – they just seem so far behind because Mike Vrabel's a great coach. The Colts have a great roster. The Jags are on the up and up. So it'd just be a tough spot.
Yeah, and real quick, even the last year that Deshaun played there, I think you have to look at his stats. He played arguably out of his mind that year, and they still won 4 games. So it's like even with a elite level play at quarterback, they still were just dog ass. So that is definitely a tough task.
And it took 24 hours after their season to end on a really good win for Brandon Cooks to be like, well, I hope they get me out of here. Like they're already losing some of their players.
For me, as far as attractable and least attractable, the one that I feel like literally could be so far left, so far right, the Broncos. And for a lot of reasons that both of you have already said, if you are sitting here today, and I think I fall in this category, I don't know where you guys really fall, and you still believe that Russell Wilson is a capable quarterback in this league and in 2022 is not representation of him, then you feel pretty good about this job. You're getting a quarterback. Also, the Broncos have, if not the best, a top 3 defense, without arguable, top 3 defense in this league. Okay. I think it was statistically number 1, so you could say it is. There are some things there, as you alluded to, a rich owner that seems like they want to be aggressive immediately coming into this league. It does feel like the Broncos job has some things that you would really like and be really attracted with. On the flip side, you have to play against what I do believe will be a better Raiders team next year, a very good Chargers team, a very good, if not elite Chiefs team, and that's not going away anytime soon, doesn't look like, okay? Second thing, if you think Russell Wilson is washed, not only do you have a bad quarterback, you have a horrendous cap quarterback situation, okay? Not to mention that the team, not just the quarterback, the team doesn't have great cap. And they're in draft capital hell because they traded the farm to get Russell Wilson. So, again, if you like Russ, if you like this defense, this could be a great team for you. If you're like, yeah, I think Russ is washed, this is a horrendous job based off the schedule, based off of the quarterback play, based off the cap, based off the draft capital. It's just, it literally feels like it could be like, oh, I really like or I really hate.
And this may be a good segue, but when you look at maybe somebody who may look to that job, like a Sean Payton, perhaps.
Yes.
Someone who's maybe has their own crew and wants complete takeover. The Broncos, did they get rid of their GM as well? Or is it just head coach?
I think it's just head coach.
Just head coach.
I believe the GM is John Elway, is it not?
No, it might be. There was one team. It was the Cardinals. Sorry, it was the Cardinals. Like, you look at the Cardinals who have a quarterback, and you look at the fact that Cliff Kingsbury's out, and I forget the GM's name, but he's gone. It was the Cardinals, not the Broncos. You guys are absolutely right. I had the teams mixed up.
It's all good.
But the Cardinals may seem like a better candidate, like a better spot, because you have what you believe to be a franchise quarterback. Now, there's a lot of work that has to be done, but you'll have complete control. So different things look better for different reasons. Also, we just named 5 coaching spots, and 2 of them are in the NFC, which seems to be the weaker division outside or conference outside of NFC East.
Well, what does the AFC have that the NFC doesn't have?
Quarterbacks.
Elite quarterback play.
By the way, Patrick Mahomes.
All the AFC teams.
You may have seen this already. Patrick Mahomes is the oldest starting AFC quarterback in the playoffs this year. He's the oldest one in the AFC. Patrick Mahomes.
Bonkers.
He's 27.
And then I think consensusly we agree. The NFC, it seems like they're team built. The Eagles, team built. Jalen's been great, not trying to dog him, but they're team built. The roster's loaded, right? Cowboys, team built, roster's loaded. Niners, team built, rosters loaded. Vikings, team built, rosters loaded.
Buccaneers.
Giants for the most part. Well coached, good roster. Like, it does seem like the AFC has all the QBs, and the NFC is like, are you laughing because I shit on the boss?
No, I threw that out there as a joke. It went well for me, at least. I thought it was funny.
So let's go into this. I'll let you start, Dan. Jim Harbaugh, do you think there's enough information here? He's interviewed for the Broncos. Does he stay or leave? Let's start there. Stay or leave?
I don't know, man. With playing this Russian roulette every year and all these reports that always turn out to be false, you don't know who to believe. And when he asked for clarification from Jim Harbaugh, he goes, before the Big Ten championship, or after he goes, I'll enthusiastically be back for Michigan in 2023. And then I think last week he goes, I think I'll be back for Michigan in 2023. So it's just these mind games, and one wonders if he's doing this for leverage to get the NFL. And, there's been a lot of Ward Manuel, the athletic director, heat about him being the one that's in the wrong and not wanting to pay Jim, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. And honestly, at this point in time, it's like, just go. If you don't want to, if you're not 100% built or bought in to what you've done here these last 2 years, just go, and we'll find somebody else. And, I'm, you and I have said on the Michigan pod, well, at least I've said that after 2018, I wanted him gone, and I kind of forgave him after 2021 and how magical that end of the year finish was. But now I'm starting to get sour again. It's just like, just make up your mind and move on, man, if you don't want to be here.
Okay, so if Harbaugh were to jump to the NFL, is the Broncos the only job? Where are you feeling on Harbaugh into the Broncos?
I mean, it's a possibility. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Broncos are going to try to go out and get somebody different, and maybe already in the NFL. With Jimmy, I don't think that the Broncos is going to be the fit for him. This could all be all smoke. And last season when the Raiders were rumored, it was that was pushing the Raiders' job. It wasn't the Raiders reaching out. It wasn't Mark Davis asking for him. And then this time around, it was the Panthers that were apparently interested, but it wasn't. It was Jim reaching out to them, not vice versa. I don't think he goes to the Broncos. I mean, he could end up somewhere else, but I think that is a very tough task to go into the AFC West with Mahomes and Herbert. And who knows what the Raiders were, but I don't think that's a right fit. I think he'd have to go somewhere else. Maybe the Panthers. That would probably be the best spot for him, but it doesn't look like it.
He's in the Ring of Honor for the Colts. So I think he would like to go, back to the Colts, but I think it's only likely that he goes to the Colts if he can reunite with Andrew Luck. That's how likely I think it is that he leaves Michigan.
Yeah, I don't see where the whole
Awesome.
Michigan thing comes up. I mean, obviously there's not rumors, it's fact. He interviewed virtually
Yeah,
with
but
the Broncos. That alone tells me it's not that serious. I'm sorry.
he owes it to himself to see what's out there so he can get every penny from Michigan because he deserves it.
Yeah, all these Michigan fans, and Dan, I'm not coming at you. All these Michigan fans that want to cry about Harbaugh interviewing, until the day that Mel Tucker makes a cent less than Harbaugh, Harbaugh can interview for any job he wants in America. I don't care if he wants to interview to be a soccer coach. Until Mel Tucker makes less money than that man, Harbaugh can look for any job he wants. That's my
Harbaugh,
opinion.
it has to be listed as an interview for him to come back every offseason to Michigan and say, these are 8 prices. I don't have the teams next to him,
Yeah.
but these are all offers that I could receive. And I have 8. 6 of them are higher than what you're offering me. And there's 3 college coaches that I know that make more than me. And I'm 25 and 3 or 26 and 2, 25 and 2 or whatever in my last 2 seasons. So I think he has to interview to see what's out there so he can comp and get a reasonable what he believes he should get. Because, I mean, I love seeing Michigan in the playoffs, and I love seeing Michigan beat Ohio State back-to-back times. How often we forget what Michigan was 8 years ago before we hired Jim Harbaugh.
I
So,
even forgot.
well,
I
that's,
forgot it
but,
all.
I mean, some people live in the moment, but it's like, nothing's perfect. And some people, I mean, I'm dealing with it right now with some people like saying Mike Tomlin should leave, because things aren't perfect. Or Jim Harbaugh, when things weren't perfect, a lot of people were pushing him out the door. Well, now things are
Mhm.
perfect, and he wants to point back at that door and say, look, you guys cracked it open first. I'm just showing you what's on the other side. This can go both ways. It's going to get a little bit ugly sometimes, but in the end, I think Jim Harbaugh loves Michigan. I loves what he's doing. He's in the playoff every year. He's beating Ohio State, the last 2 years, and the playoffs
Mhm.
only expanding. You can recruit virtually. He's getting draft classes. He's stocking up players. Everyone's returning. I mean, it just, for me, again, I think it's as likely that Jim Harbaugh leaves to the NFL as it is Andrew Luck comes back to the Colts.
What you got to think about is if Jim Harbaugh stays, he's looking at NCAA sanctions with that recruiting stuff going on, and
That's another time conversation, but that's bullshit.
right now. With having said that, is that going to have
Okay.
him more sway to go back to the NFL? Who knows, right? But as a Michigan fan, the more we delay here, it's just going to hurt the Wolverines because last year when he did this with the Vikings, that hurt the recruiting class from the get-go. This past class or this class that's coming in this fall isn't as strong as you would like it to be, and part of that is NIL and the Vikings' job on National Signing Day, the interview. So the timing is obviously not right, and Michigan's gonna get put in the wall. And obviously, this isn't a Michigan pod, but it is just a topic we could discuss for a while.
Brad, Sean Payton is going to be 1,000% in the NFL next year. I think that's the difference between him and Harbaugh. I think we're 100,000% going to see Sean Payton coaching NFL team. What team makes the most sense, or does that team currently still have a head coach?
All 3 teams, I think, where it makes sense, do not currently have a head coach. We've talked about all 3 of them.
Okay.
I think first and foremost, the Broncos traded Bradley Chubb, and they got the draft pick that originally belonged to the 49ers. So they will have a first-round pick to give for Sean Payton.
It's late, but yeah.
Vic Fangio, I believe, as his defensive coordinator, is familiar with the building. He's already joined Payton's staff. It doesn't matter what team they go to, and he would love to get a hold of that defense. The Cardinals need the most work, but there's a child playing quarterback for that team. I think Sean Payton could handle that. I do want to offer a
1,000%.
I want to offer a 2-part answer here. And this is going to have a little bit to do with draft. I know there was another question that wasn't mailbag that you responded to. Someone asked about the Bears mock, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Broncos, I believe, is most likely a late first-round pick. Give me the Broncos, new ownership, Russell Wilson. We're going to do this thing. We're going to figure it out, and they're going to become a real contender in the AFC. I think that's on the table. However, at the 4 and the 3 pick are teams that could use Sean Payton. I don't think that he really wants to go to the Cardinals. I think outside of quarterback, who's coming off of an ACL, a wide receiver who potentially wants out, a defense that doesn't really have playmakers, and you have to I just don't think that's the spot. I think the Colts have a real chance here. Now, Gus Bradley's their defensive coordinator. How attached to him are they? I don't know. But I think a real play could be the Colts give their 4th overall pick for Sean Payton, and I think they go after a veteran quarterback such as Derek Carr. They go all in on Derek Carr. They've gone after veteran quarterbacks the last few years. Sean Payton with Derek Carr, that offense, Vic Fangio in that defense, Shaq Leonard comes back. That's a big deal. That's a defensive MVP style candidate. I think that is the biggest play, and my far-fetched stretch would be Colts give up the 4th pick for Sean Payton, and they go after Jimmy Garoppolo or Derek Carr in free agency. The Saints would then use that 4th pick and the 40th overall pick and maybe more to trade up to 1 to pair C.J. Stroud with Chris Olave and Michael Thomas. Alvin Kamara, they get their quarterback. Bears trade 3 picks back to 4, get draft capital, and the Colts get Sean Payton. I think that makes the most sense. That's what I'm going with.
Man,
Way
you got
too
this
early
all worked
predictions.
out. Yeah, that's what we're here for. This is what we're here for.
That's.
So
I mean, if you
when
tell me
these
that
things-
doesn't seem like a plausible chain of events.
No, it's plausible. And when these things come true, they make the best of pod. So come on. Dan, Sean Payton, is there a spot that you feel he fits here? Or does that team still have a head coach? You can go on wherever you want.
I think the two that, for me, that are plausible and a lot less savvy-wise detail. I think it's going to be Colts or the Panthers. I think you go right back to the NFC South, and I just think that it's a good leading off point to on how up for grabs the divisions are, and how really both teams are kind of like a quarterback away from making some noise. And you either draft one or get one of these veterans that are going to be on the move here. And Derek Carr, Jimmy G could definitely be one of the two. And if that's what I had to pick, it'll be my 1B or 1A, 1B.
Well, I'm shocked it didn't come up. I'm just going to go ahead and say, because I think this is the most likely. It's a team that still has a head coach. It's actually in the playoffs. I think the Chargers are looking for a reason to get rid of Brandon Staley, and they're a team that has quarterback play and depth. They can easily afford to give up a first-round pick in order to get Sean Payton, and they wouldn't blink an eye at it. I think it's more likely than not he's their head coach next year, especially because he's currently living in LA, from what I've heard. He seems to be on the Herd weekly, and he's in studio. I think he lives in LA, okay? Second thing, if for whatever reason the Chargers don't fire the head coach because maybe Brandon Staley wins the damn Super Bowl, doubtful, but maybe. I'm sorry, dude. He was the coach of a team that had a quarterback for damn near 20 years. He's not going to go to a team that doesn't have a quarterback. I disagree with both of you in that sense. And I don't think that the Saints are going to trade him to the Panthers because then he'd be in division. Cardinals make a ton of sense. Too much offensive firepower. They have the picks. They can still go get a defensive player. The defense needs a ton of work, but it's pretty much rumored that he wants to bring in Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio is a defensive guru. No matter who's on the team, he can probably make something work there. I have to assume that Sean Payton could make Kyler Murray a more mature quarterback, a better decision maker, a better playmaker. That seems like it would be a match made in heaven. But I think the number one spot is still a team with a head coach, and I think it's the Chargers.
Could it be a team with still of a head coach? No, never. Cleveland Browns? Are they done with Stefanski?
He hasn't been fired yet, and to be honest, I personally, and I've argued with some Browns fans over this, I don't think that's the play there.
I do
have to give him one full year with Deshaun Watson. You must do that.
I also want to say some people who listen to the pod may have heard Jeff and said, he said Brandon stayed in the Chargers, but what if Sean McVay doesn't want to come back? I
totally
think if Sean McVay doesn't want to come back, it's because he has the inside scoop that Matt Stafford is about done. And that brings up to the point where they don't have draft capital. Their cap is messy. Yeah, they're going to have Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, but how much longer are you going to have Aaron Donald? And if Matt Stafford goes, does Sean McVay believe that he can do it with Baker? Does he think that he can do it with Baker? Does he believe that's a quarterback and he can make it work? And in LA, they can do that. So, and it's funny that, I just want to ask, is it a 0% chance that he goes back to the Saints? Is that a 0% chance?
Can't be. It can't be because he's currently under contract with them. And
just-
Dennis Allen is not a let's just say this. I'll be respectful. He's not Sean Payton.
Yeah. I just sometimes when I think about the Cardinals, I love the fit, but like, are they willing to give a third overall pick for Sean Payton? That's tough. But I said the Colts would at 4. So I mean, it can go.
I don't think it has to be this year's. I think it could be a future. It could be a
Really?
2025, a 2026. Sean, maybe the Cardinals are like, yeah, we'll give you one in 3 years once he's got this team established. We're not giving you a fucking top 5 pick. Sorry. Get lost.
That Rams one, that's an interesting spot because that was obviously they're coming off the Super Bowl and they go basically from worst to first to worst, and not literally, but they were doing all their little contract, finaggering, to get everybody on there to build an elite team, and now it just seems all of a sudden the bottom's falling out. It's just kind of a 180 for me on that.
Yeah. Also, like, you want to bring in Vic Fangio. I've seen a ton of news that everyone's going for this defensive coordinator for the Rams. People are looking at him. Sean McVay told everybody to go ahead and take interviews. So who's to say they don't leave and they just restart it with Sean Payton and Vic Fangio? I don't know. It'll be interesting to follow. That's for sure.
Yeah. On to the mailbag unless you guys got something.
That Colts thing's coming through. We're gonna have to clip that for the greatest takes of 2023, baby.
Yeah. Hey. I'm gonna kick off the mailbag with a question that I can't believe isn't getting more steam, and maybe I'm sleeping. I don't. What happened to OBJ?
He sucks. He's washed.
No, but for real.
I've actually I watched a lot of talks of this stuff. So basically, he wanted to come back for the playoffs.
I heard that.
And he looked at the Giants. He looked at the Cowboys. It would violate HIPAA laws if they released everything they found in physicals. But he took the physical with the Giants, and then they didn't sign him. And it got leaked by inside reports. They can't say exactly what's happening, but teams who did the physical said he might be able to play in the Super Bowl. Maybe. He's behind schedule on where his knee's supposed to be and what people thought. So if they signed him, it was hopefully a shot fighter in the Super Bowl. But it's like everyone's kind of, behind the scenes inside the league saying this guy's going to have to wait till next year. He'll sign in the offseason, and I think OBJ will be a big part of a team in 2023. But essentially, it was like you could get this guy for the playoffs. Well, you could get him for the last 2 games. He might be able to run a few routes in the Super Bowl for you if you make it there. Like it slowly became like he can't. His knee just isn't where they wanted it to be. It's not about the person. It's not about who he is as a talent. His knee just simply couldn't hold up to the physical that he took with the Giants, and he may have even taken it with the second team. But that's what I've heard about OBJ. He simply just can't. His body isn't ready.
Yeah.
Not money, not personality, not a bit. It's strictly ability.
This question comes in from Jen Fisher. Dan, let you start this one. Which team or teams have surprised you this season?
I got 3.
Hit me.
Ooh.
All right. So, first I'll start with the Detroit Lions. I really felt like starting 1-6. I don't know. After starting 1-6, I really felt like they started to buy in and they really put it together. A back 9 that's pretty well. I mean, they beat a few playoff teams on that schedule. They came close against the Bills, and by eliminating Green Bay last weekend, I really feel like that. The Lions are trending up, and I'm obviously not a Lions fan, but I kind of like secretly, I want to say pull or root for them, but it's nice to see a local team like that start to have somewhat of some promise. And so for me, it would be the 9-8 Lions. I mean, it's not, I don't think that they're going to be going away anytime soon. And I think Jared Goff has proven enough to where, he made a case for him to come back and them not have to go in the free agency or draft one. My other one, my second of 3 is the Raiders. I really thought, 2021, I bought into, at least, be a contender in the division. This year I want to at least get to 10-7. That's what their record was last year. And with Devontae Adams, I thought that, again, they could be fighting for the division crown, maybe second place, with, that duo and everything. All that offensive power on paper looked great, right? The biggest question mark is we talked about it with, in the preview this year was the offensive line. Well, it turns out the offensive line wasn't like in the stratosphere by no means, but it wasn't the weakest link of the team. It was really the defense, the secondary, and they really fell short. And my franchise that I root for is got a lot of questions, and who knows who's staying and who's going, what's going on with Derek Carr. A lot of question marks there. So surprising in the negative way. And thirdly is the Meadowlands, just both New York teams in general. The Jets, the Giants, regardless of what their records are, I really feel like that regardless of the Jets, I feel like, again, they're a quarterback away for, in my opinion, being somewhat, competitive or decent. And then with the Giants, Brian Daboll, I felt like he really unlocked Josh Allen or progressed him a lot further. And with Daniel Jones, the turnovers are down. They're kind of in the middle of the pack in their statistics, but they showed that they can scare people, and they have, again, promise, and they have something to really build off of for the future.
Brad.
Yeah, I'll start real quick. One, Eagles did not shock me. I just had to peep that out. I'm riding that take off into the sunset. But what I will say is there's two teams that shocked me the most, I think, hands down. I know I was wrong on the Cowboys, but I guess it wasn't as shocking when I saw them do well. I will admit that. But two teams was the Christmas Day matchup. The Rams and Broncos were just way worse than I thought they would be. The Rams follow up their Super Bowl win with the worst record by a Super Bowl defending champion of all time. And although the defense played well, I had the Broncos in the playoffs. I thought the Broncos would be them. I thought they would rival the Chiefs in that division. I thought they'd be in contention for the 1 seed. And they were just, that offense was atrocious. The head coach was terrible. There were many teams that didn't go how I expected. But we were adamant that on Christmas Day, we were potential Super Bowl matchup. We thought that's what we were getting. And I was watching the NBA. So I thought it was they shocked me, but in the wrong way. Colts as well. You can throw the Colts in there too.
I got a lot of teams, and I'll give you brief explanations on all of them because I don't want to, bore us here. Rams, I agree. That was literally one of my Super Bowl picks. Like, you give me 3 teams out of the NFC, I was guaranteed to have the Rams in there. I thought for sure they were gonna fucking repeat. They literally won the Super Bowl, and they added Allen Robinson on offense, absolute game changer, and Bobby Wagner on defense, who's been the only bright spot of that entire team all year. Everybody else that they added and or was a piece last year is pretty much just either injured or the team ultimately couldn't overcome the injury bug, basically. Second, my AFC West / AFC shocker pick, the Raiders. I just thought they were too offensively talented to be bad. Well, turns out they couldn't even really sling the rock that well. They ended up becoming a running team, which is the weirdest shit ever. And their defense was horrendous. I mean, it couldn't hold anybody. The Broncos. Listen, I'm not going to bang the wall for Russell Wilson, but I thought he was way better than what we've seen on tape this year. And I don't think anybody, even Nick Wright, I know he's a Russell Wilson hater. He even said, he goes, I could not have predicted the Broncos be this bad. They were the worst watch. There was plenty of times I was traveling for work this year early in the season, and it seemed like the Broncos were always on primetime. And I kept tweeting it out. I kept posting on the Facebook. I'm like, these games are so bad, they're unwatchable. The Broncos are unwatchable. I was like, get these guys off my TV. The Giants. There is a segment, I could find it, where Brad, you and I are basically saying we were willing to bet our life savings, our 401k, our house, whatever we owned, that the Giants would not win over 4 games. We couldn't find 2 wins on their schedule, and they're currently in the playoffs. We'll talk about them in a minute. Crazy how good the Giants played this well. They shocked me. Go ahead.
I just want to say it also has to do with the team I missed. I'm going to mention them here real quick. But October 30th, the 9th game of the season, I thought that the Giants and Seahawks would be playing for their first win potentially. They're both in the postseason. You can continue.
That's my next team, the Seahawks. We said, I have the clip. We said the Seahawks were a quarterback away. We didn't know that quarterback was Geno.
Yeah, we didn't know he's on the team.
Holy
He's on
hell.
the team.
Holy hell. That Geno Smith comes in and completes.
We-
He breaks Russell Wilson's season passing yard mark. Geno Smith broke that. The Seahawks team, I'm not saying they're the Seahawks of old because that team was one of one. They are generational. But this is a good football team. They're a playoff team. Do I think they're going to win a game? We'll talk about that later. But the Seahawks surprised me.
Dude, we were calling it a massacre on Monday night opening day. Broncos were going to destroy the Seahawks.
3 more. Green Bay did not shock me early. They shocked me late. I can't believe this team could not get a playoff game in. I can't believe that Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers couldn't get drugged to the playoffs. That shocked me. I don't get shocked a lot. And then the last 2. I can't believe how bad the Bucs were. I literally can't believe how bad they were. They're 8-9 going into the playoffs. They have a sub 500 record, and at times they looked like one of the worst teams in the league. They just happened to get in the playoffs because they're an abysmal division. And then last but not least, the team I owe a biggest apology to. I can't believe the Kansas City Chiefs just dominated the league again. I can't believe it. And now mind you, I should say this because I seems like I'm the only one that's actually neutral on the Chiefs. They got beat by the Bills and Bengals, 2 teams I'm higher on than them, but they were able to get in with the number 1 seed. Doesn't matter how they did it. They got in with the number 1 seed after losing arguably the greatest playmaker in the whole league.
You may not realize it because you were a fan of the Patriots for the duration of what they were doing.
Yeah.
But it is scary how we've become numb to the Chiefs winning. You look up the scores after the weekend or on Sunday with your bets, and you're just like, well, how much do they win by? And when they lose, you're like, oh my gosh. Or it takes the Bills or the Bengals to they just went 16-0 in Patrick Mahomes' 4 years in the AFC West on the road. We've just become numb, and everyone, including me, gets trapped in this mess where you want to predict their downfall. That's the new funnest thing. When are the Chiefs going to be bad? You want to be the person that said that this was the year they'd do it. They lose Tyreek Hill. He throws for 5,200 yards, and they sweep the AFC to a 14-3. I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah, I mean, how many more times, Jeff, are we going to hear from Shane about where we ranked Pat Mahomes in our quarterback list? But yeah, I mean, the Chiefs on paper, we went through the schedule. It was a fucking gauntlet preseason, and then they just, you said Tyreek Hill's gone, and it's like, was Travis Kelce going to eat up every target possible? And
yes,
how'd they get Kadarius Toney?
Dude,
nothing. He won the game.
I mean. Praise the Andy Reid and then Eric Bieniemy. I think after this season alone, Bieniemy should 100% be a head coach somewhere. They did an absolute phenomenal job this year. Wow, it's just amazing. And I fucking hate. Excuse me for the F-bombs. I obviously hate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, trust me. When we were predicting their downfall, I was right on that hot take train, right into the toilet. That's for sure.
Dan, this question's from you. What team does Derek Carr play for in 2023? We'll let you start. You're the Raider guy.
Not the Raiders.
Why not?
That's pretty clear.
I can't reconcile.
I think I'm personally ready. It's kind of started last year. I'm kind of personally ready to move on from Derek Carr. I know he's done a lot. He's our franchise leader in pretty much every statistical category. But just after a while, it's just time for a new scene. And it's been 9 years. It hasn't worked out. The best year he played, he got hurt, and we lost the Texans in the first round playoffs. It's just time to move on, right? Josh McDaniels benches him for those final 2 games. Kind of got shafted on that. Not gonna lie, and I just think that now, the rumor now is Tom Brady to Vegas. I don't think that's going to happen, but if they go out and do Tom Brady or they do Garoppolo or something like that, I just think it's going to be on a limited rental, and they're going to try to use that as a Band-Aid until they can get more draft capital and build for the future or whatever. They have numerous good pieces, but I just don't think I think the telltale sign there was being benched the final 2.
Brad, where's Derek Carr play?
It's going to be tough to move me off the Colts. There are other places that need a quarterback where they could fit. I think he's a Colt.
I've been on this one. I think I said on the pod to you, Brad. It just makes the most sense that he's a Jet, a team that is ready to have a QB after a very long time of failing with QBs. I think they're willing to trade the farm to try and get him. I also think that this team has younger receivers, established running game, and what Derek Carr has never had, a good defense. Unfortunately, the offensive coordinator and the offensive play calling is going to be in question. But I think Derek Carr gets you a little bit over that hump, and he gets you the best quarterback play that you've had in New York. So therefore, watch out for the Jets to overpay for him. I think that's the best case scenario for the Raiders. I think the Jets overpay for him and get that draft capital back that Dan was just talking about. I just think that makes so much sense. I guess the team that makes the most sense, but they can't acquire him, is the Niners. The Niners just don't have any draft capital anymore. They literally don't have it. So that team makes the most sense, and they would be disgusting. But he won't go there. They literally can't acquire him unless he's cut. And if he's cut, Carr would be an idiot not to go back to California and go play for the Niners. This one comes in from you again, Dan. So did Josh McDaniels show any improvement on being a head coach since his time in Denver? I'll go ahead and start quick here. So, I don't remember a ton of his time in Denver because, it was 2009. I was younger, 2009, 2010. But I remember it just not being great. It started off well, and then it didn't go great, and he didn't have quarterback play there. The one thing that I thought was really nice about this run already, you may not like it. In my opinion, I didn't agree with it, but he established an identity right away. They're a ground and pound team. Unfortunately, Derek Carr tried to make them an aerial assault team, just throwing it to Devontae Adams. And if Adams wasn't open, it seemed like he struggled at times. He lost Renfro. He lost Waller. Now Waller got hurt, but Josh Jacobs was like the one constant. They established that run game. I think that I think we'll be having a different conversation because I have a feeling, like you already alluded to, I'm pretty much dead set. I'm praying it doesn't happen. I'm praying he ends up in New England, but I think Tom Brady is an Oakland or a Las Vegas Raider next year. I think it's probably 90-10 that he's there.
Yeah.
So, Brad?
Yeah, I don't remember much, if any, of his time in Denver, but if he has improved, I'm glad I didn't see that time in Denver.
Dan?
Yeah, it's hard for me to remember specifically his time in Denver, just knowing that, he started, it looked great, it looked good, promising, and then it kind of fell off there. And obviously the knock for him there was drafting Tim Tebow, and that didn't really, bode well or look well at the end. But watching the Raiders game this year, there was definitely, at least in the preseason, again, it's a lot of gray area there, right? In the preseason, I felt like a lot of the players that they had in there at the time, and some starters, a lot of backups, right? I felt like a lot of the stuff was being executed. It looked like there was a lot of confidence, and I feel like there's some things you can look at preseason and take away from it. And I thought there was something to really keep your eye on. And as we went out through the season, I think there was a lot of swing play, in terms of play calling. There's a lot of swing play calls. 50%. Went wrong, and then if they did it again, if it went right, it would look differently, and they would have won the game, so on and so forth. I just think that a few things went wrong, and guys were banged up. Hunter Renfro didn't play a lot. He got concussed, and I think he missed, about a month and a half. And then obviously Darren Waller, we thought that he was going to go on IR at one point, and he didn't. He's out there making rap videos. But I think it's promising, and I have more faith in Dave Ziegler, our GM now, coming over from New England as well. I got more faith in him, and I think with those two, I'm reserving my opinions until what I see after this draft class. I'm gonna give them, wait to see what they do here in April, and really, hopefully they shoot for the stars in 2023.
Yeah, I will say I'm gonna defend Josh for a quick second. We can move on. Listen, they underperformed. They underachieved. Without a shadow of a doubt. He deserves another year to get this thing right. And I'm sorry, I know Derek's great. I've defended Derek more than you even do. But if he can bring in Tom Brady or Jimmy Garoppolo or any quarterback that he feels he can win with, you got to give him a chance to do that. So, Brad, your question comes in next. It's 4 in a row. We're
Don't
kind of leading
remember
the
it.
charge here. Aaron Rodgers, next step.
Oh, yeah.
What do you got? What do you got here? Is he a Packer or is he somewhere else?
It's over. We're
I think
done.
he's hanging it up.
Yeah, we've seen enough Aaron Rodgers. He's out. Unless. No, I don't think so. I think he's done.
Interesting. Dan.
I'd love to ask our friend Corey Wilson, one of the biggest Packer fans, we know his takes, but it is a very good question. I'm like 80-20 that he doesn't come back. I think he just hangs up entirely. I think there's a lot of bad blood, I feel, between him and the organization over the years that's built up, and I think it's going to be Jordan Love's season.
I think if he comes back with the way the Vikings are playing and the Lions are coming up, and I just think that if he does decline at all and starts to get benched or feels like he needs to go to a new team, I feel like he's very thought out, and he looks at what's best for him. And he saw how at the end it wasn't great for Favre leaving the Packers. I think what he thinks is best for his legacy is to not only play for the Packers, but make sure he leaves on his terms.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is the best time for him to do that. Loss on the Lions doesn't taste good, but you don't always get the storybook ending. It doesn't always work out the way you want it to. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I think there's just too much evidence of quarterbacks being able to go other places and have success. Obviously,
He's
Russell
too
Wilson.
much money, though, isn't he?
He is. He absolutely is. But I just think that I'm not saying he's going to have success. I'm just saying there's too much proof that
You can
you can. So therefore, I think he would try. There's a handful of teams that I think are good head coaches that are struggling with their quarterback situation and they want to get it fixed, and they would be okay with a rental. The Raiders don't think they have the. They don't
have any
cap at all.
receivers that he would like, though.
You're hilarious. The Titans, the Giants, the Jets. Not saying that's a great head coach, but that's a good situation. The Niners. There's a lot of teams that right now, especially it's like all NFC teams, that have rosters that need quarterbacks.
Cowboys.
The problem is the Packers would eat. Dak Prescott's better than Jalen Hurts, so chill yourself.
No.
Oh gosh,
Cowboys Packers QB swap. Get it done.
I'm not ready to plant Aaron Rodgers in a location.
Oh, we didn't even talk about Sean Payton to the Cowboys if they lose this first playoff game.
I gave you an opportunity to pick a team.
But it just clicked. Sean Payton and Vic Fangio go into the Cowboys, bring over Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, get the fuck out of here. Aaron Rodgers, CeeDee Lamb, Zeke and the boys, that defense.
I'll laugh my ass off if the Cowboys go 8-8 again then.
They would too. They would. I'm at the point. I know you guys both said Aaron hangs it up. I think Aaron is on a roster, whether it's the Packers or someone else, at least one more year.
Do you think he just wants to try and tie Peyton? 5th MVP?
No, I think he just. I think he just wants to collect $60 million. That's his cap hit next year, right? $60 million, I think I heard.
I don't know how much ayahuasca costs, but I think he has enough money.
I mean, I can tell you this. I don't care if I had $100 million, $200 million, or $500 million.
Another 50 is nice.
$60 million is a lot of cash.
Another 50 is nice.
That's a lot of cash. End of the year winner predictions. I think we're going to stay away from that. Jacob, thanks for writing in, but you have another question here we'll tackle briefly. Jacob Reed says, also the referee situation happens every year, but this year more than ever, it seemed it was just horrible every week. Brad, do you have a quick explanation on what you want to say about the refs? I'll let you start.
Quit complaining.
Dan, you got anything on the refs?
No, the only thing I really felt like they were really ticky-tack on this year was the roughing the passer. Other than that, what can you do?
I do want to say, I guess I did. I saw in the Colts game, it ended up being incomplete, but defender breaks through, goes to tackle Nick Foles, but then like grabs him and then lets him go and puts his hands up, and then Nick Foles takes 2 steps and throws a pass, and it was like, yo, if he tackles him there and lands on him, it's a foul. So I do think the only thing we can do with officiating is people would say if you could challenge penalties, it'll slow the game down. Not if you fail the challenge, you lose a timeout. Therefore, the time is there substituted. It'll be okay. Maybe you start to give coaches a chance on pass interference or roughing the passer to have a challenge. You can use it on that too. Because, I mean, coaches' challenge is nice, but how many games do we finish where coaches don't even use it? Let's get those used more. Let's let them challenge a penalty. Let's let it happen.
Bill Belichick has been on record multiple times.
Why not?
You get 2 challenges. They should be able to be used on anything.
Right. That was wrong. Look at it again.
Yes.
That was wrong. Look at it again. And if I'm wrong telling you to look at it again, shame on me. Take my time out.
Yeah. You lose your challenge. You lose your timeout. That is the penalty. The penalty shouldn't be, no, you don't get to challenge it. No, tough. You're wrong.
Yeah. And Jacob, to your
I
point,
get 2 challenges. I should use them on anything.
To your point, Jacob, the wronger than ever. Maybe it's frustration in the moment, but we're going to say that every year. We're going to say it every year that it's worse than ever because there are problems. But, I mean, let's challenge those boys.
I do find it interesting, and Jacob, I think you're a Steeler fan. I'm not entirely sure.
Yes.
Okay. I do find it weird that the people that hate the refs are typically fans of bad football teams. Find a Chiefs fan that's complaining about the referees. Just saying. Seriously. Find a Bills fan that's complaining about referees. Okay? I'm sorry if you take that to heart, Brad.
Don't call them a bad team. How many teams are in the NFL?
You had a winning record.
No. How many teams are in the NFL?
32.
The bottom half, the top of the bottom half would be the 16th pick in the draft. We got 17, boy. We're better than half the league. Do not call us a bad team.
You are better than – that is bonkers that you're better than half the league. That is honestly crazy.
Where the Patriots draft, huh?
I don't know, but we whooped your ass in Pittsburgh. So.
Oh, yeah. Mitch Trubisky was playing. Boy, you're lucky Kenny didn't get your ass.
Andrew, thanks for writing in. Quarterback carousel is going to have to wait for another day. There's too much unknown right now. I think we gave you a little bit, though. We gave you a little bit of Derek Carr. We gave you a brief Tom Brady. We gave you a little bit of Aaron Rodgers. We're gonna skip that for now. Trust me, we'll do a quarterback carousel. I think I asked Brad 4 different times last year who all 32 NFL quarterbacks would be in different points. So
I was right on all of them. Check the tape.
Kyle writes in, best playoff underdog. Don't say if they're gonna win or lose. That's coming. Dan, go ahead and start.
What does underdog mean?
I don't know. Somebody that's not projected to win, but maybe you think they could.
My opinion would have been like maybe a 7th or 8th seed, and I'd probably land with the Seahawks. Seahawks or Giants. I'll stick with the Seahawks.
I'll just go any wild card team. Chargers.
Chargers are currently favored over the Jags.
Yeah, I know, but he says underdog. I think that's to win the Super Bowl, right?
Oh, okay.
That's how I looked at it.
You interpret the question differently.
I thought it meant like who's the biggest underdog to win the Super Bowl. So I was like, any of the wild card teams.
Yeah.
Cowboys, Chargers come to mind.
I think both work.
Well,
the playoffs, baby. They're all good.
I am an unapologetic biased. I think the Bucs are the biggest playoff underdog. How can they not be? How can they not be? They're sub 500. They're sub 500. They're dogs at home in a playoff game. They have Tom Brady. Sorry, they're the best playoff underdog. It ain't close.
But they don't have a top 10 receiver on the perimeter.
I can't fucking dude retires. This is
Oh, you wouldn't have it any other way. Well, this is a fun one. Get your thinking caps on. Kyle writes one more time. Hypothetical. You have the first overall pick in a draft with every non-quarterback NFL player on the board.
Yeah.
Who you got, Brad?
Fucking TJ Watt, baby.
I literally know you so well. I'm like, well, Brad's taking TJ Watt. Dan, who are you taking? I think I know yours, so go ahead.
So it's a player that's
Oh.
already NFL.
Player, anybody except a quarterback. Who you taking? I know who you're taking too. I predicted both yours. Who do you got?
You already predicted mine.
I did. I'm texting it to Brad just to be fair.
Who we
Hang on.
taking?
I'll take Devontae Adams.
Oh, I was wrong. Okay. You know what's funny? I thought it would be Aaron Donald. I just think that's the go-to answer.
He's the second
Devon. What?
I didn't say anything.
Oh.
Continue your answer.
You can go so many different ways here.
No, you can't. He's
I
right
think
here.
you could.
Number 90.
No.
Off the edge.
Today I'm
You're
taking
gonna say Justin Jefferson.
I'm taking Justin Jefferson. Yeah.
Dog, by the way.
Oh, absolute dog. He had the most yards in the league.
Best receiver on his own team, but pretty good.
So that is it. I think we are finally on to playoff picture. But I was thinking earlier.
Uh-oh.
And I kind of wanted to play a game. It's episode 200. What's
I'm
episode
all
200 without a game?
I live for games.
Okay.
Like, I don't play games, but I'll be a part of them.
You're going to play this one. This one's for the two of you.
Uh-oh, Dane.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Brad, your team had a better record, so I'll let you go first. Okay. Steelers were better than the Raiders this year.
Wow.
Active NFL players that have won the Heisman. You're going to name one, then Dan, then back to you, then Dan. Last man standing wins.
Okay, Dan, you got it, but that's...
Okay. Brad, active NFL player that has won the Heisman. Go.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. He is active. He won it in 2015. Go ahead.
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson is active. He won it in 2016.
Joe
Brad?
Burrow.
Joe Burrow is active, obviously. He won it in 2019.
Devontae Smith.
Devonta Smith. Hopefully you guys are not cheating. If you guys are cheating, I would be so pissed.
I'm just looking at the list of teams.
You better be. Okay. He won it in 2020. Brad?
Baker Mayfield.
Baker. He is an active player as of week 17, at least. He won it in 2017. Or week 18, sorry.
Mark Ingram.
Ingram. He is the oldest active Heisman winner. 2009, he won it in. Brad's tapped.
Bro, this is hard for me. I don't fucking pay attention.
There's not a ton left, but there's a few. We got 1, 2, 3.
Deshaun Watson?
We only got 3 left. Deshaun Watson did not win the Heisman.
And neither did Trevor, did he?
So if Dan can get correct, if Dan can get one more, he wins.
I could probably name 2 more.
Okay, keep it going. There's only 3 left.
Dude. Well, it's a game. You only get one. I'm just kidding. I'm out.
Oh, shit. I just lost my train of thought. Fuck.
Now he's in panic mode. He can't win.
Marcus Mariota.
Marcus Mariota is active, and he won it in 2014.
Yeah, but he sucks. Does that count?
You got any more? Or are you done?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray is active. He won it in 2018.
We already named him.
No, we did not. I'm writing them all down. Bud.
I had Kyler Murray in my head. That's my bad.
But you did not say it.
I know. I thought he was already said. That's on me.
Before we end this, you said there's one more left?
There's one more.
What position? Is he a quarterback?
Quarterback.
Oh, shit.
I'll give you the year, 2013.
No. Oh, all right.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Oh. Crab legs.
Jameis
Winston. I got it. Let's go.
Oh, boy.
Hey, what are we doing?
Eating that W.
Crab.
All right.
He said crab.
Here we are, crab legs. Jeez Louise. At least he said crab legs and not the Xfinity that he screamed in a lunchroom. Don't say that. Um, don't say it. It's episode 200. You can't. Oh boy. First playoff game is this Saturday at 4:30 on Fox. Seahawks are traveling to San Francisco. San Francisco winners of, I believe, 10 in a row. Yes, 10 in a row. Dan, who you got? You can start here.
The Niners are. I think the Niners are going to complete the sweep. They are -9.5, right? And Brock Purdy's playing well. This rushing attack versus top 10 versus the back 9 and rushing defense, which is Seattle. I think that the Niners take this and cover.
Brad.
Yeah, the Niners not only are on a 10-game win streak, but their only injury loss is their best corner, CJ Mosley, one of the two, I forget. Sorry about your name. But that's because he was hurt in week 5. They haven't had him on this winning streak. Trent Williams healthy, Kittle, Ayuk, Samuel, McCaffrey, Mitchell, Juszczyk, Bosa, Fred Warner, the whole kit and caboodle. This team's a wagon at home. Great season, Seahawks. I think they're just outgunned here.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed the last 2 times they've played the Niners. It just seemed like the Niners were too much. And this Niner team can beat you a multitude of ways. I think the only way the Seahawks have a chance is if they make Brock Purdy very uncomfortable. And I just don't see that. Not with Trent Williams guarding one half of the side. So give me the Niners at least close. I don't know about the cover. I think the Seahawks play their ass off. The cover seems like a lot. 9.5 in a playoff game seems like a lot. If I'm not mistaken, we ended the year last year with is it 9 consecutive 3-point or less games, something like that? Not even one score, like less than 3 points, like 9 in a row, 9 games in a row. I think that wild card weekend was a little different, but still, give me the Niners, but close by 4 to 6. Next game here. This is the Saturday night. I think it's very plausible this is the game of the weekend. Time will tell. You have Justin Herbert and the Chargers traveling to Jacksonville. They're favored by 2 to play the Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence. This one's going to be on NBC. Brad, I'll let you start here.
I love Justin Herbert. I love the Chargers. But I think they are constantly held back by their head coach. And I know we didn't do end of the season predictions, and I know everybody loves Brian Daboll and Nick Sirianni. Doug Peterson should win Coach of the Year. He took a franchise that was number 1 pick back-to-back, won the AFC South, and they're one of the 4 hottest teams in the league. They are playing good. Joey Bosa's banged up. Mike Williams is nicked up. I think Justin Herbert will show signs, but Justin Herbert has always said he's worse than Burrow in his own draft class. He's got the body type of Allen and Mahomes, but he's not quite there. And now he's going to have to deal with people saying even Trevor Lawrence in the AFC is better after the Jaguars probably win this game at home. I like the Jaguars. I think it's close. I think these are 2 ascending quarterbacks out of 7 in the AFC. Everybody's young. Again, Mahomes is the oldest quarterback starting in the AFC, which is bonkers. But I think the Jaguars' home field is a little bit. I think they're just more of a well-oiled machine. And the Chargers, when it's pucker your butt cheeks time, Brandon Staley seems to always make the wrong decision, and Peterson's been there. So head coaching advantage, home field. I like the Jaguars to keep rolling. I don't know how far they'll go, but I think they get it done versus the Chargers.
Dan, where are you at on this?
Yeah, and what was probably the most surprise, or at least eyebrow-raising game this year was Jacksonville going to SoFi and absolutely demolishing them back in September. Both teams are getting a little healthier. Jacksonville's at home. They got a swimming pool in their stadium, if I'm not mistaken. That's already 3 points on, minus to them, right?
Easy.
But
Easy.
I think it's on the coach here, and Brandon Staley seems to get too cute in crucial moments. And Doug Peterson definitely. I thought earlier in the year it was either between him or Daboll for Coach of the Year, and right now Doug Peterson has really taken over a dumpster fire that was left behind Urban Phillips-Meyer. I got the Jacksonville Jaguars winning this one, and me Duval here.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm shocked right now. Yeah, I honestly thought I would be the only one with this take.
Really?
Yeah, I thought. Well, I know you were kind of high on the Chargers to start the year. To be fair,
Hey, your
I
take
didn't
on
know where.
Sean Payton? I hope he goes there because Brandon Staley, I just don't think's it.
Yeah, I think here's the problem, and I mean, obviously we've been podding a long time, Brad. So you took a lot of my words. Better coach, home field environment, arguably a better quarterback today. I think Justin's
Hurts me.
great. I'm
It
not
hurts
taking
me.
a shot at Justin. Dude, Jags have won 5 in a row. And my biggest thing, and you nailed this on the head. The Chargers struggle with situational football in the regular season. I don't trust them in a playoff game. Doug Peterson's been there before. Trevor may not have, but I like
Well,
Doug Peterson in this spot. Give me the home team plus the points as an outright winner. Jacksonville wins.
yeah, I didn't mean to step on your toes, but
You're good.
some
You're
people,
called it.
yeah, well, some people will say that where you're like Doug Peterson's been there, Brandon hasn't, and maybe Trevor hasn't, but like this is Justin and Trevor's both their first playoff games. Someone's got to win. But when you
Yeah.
talk about pressure in the moment, Trevor Lawrence has played and won and lost in a national championship game. He's been in moments that, some people would say wild card weekend playoff game is not as crazy level situation as a national championship in college. So Trevor's been there, done that. Their running back ETN has been there, done that. Their coach has won a Super Bowl against Tom Brady. I mean, I just think experience would even have to go their way in terms of coaching and quarterback, even though it's their first time in the postseason. And they're getting points. Come on.
Yeah. Next game here, 1:00 on Sunday, CBS. The Miami Dolphins are traveling to Buffalo to play a red-hot Bills team. Bills are favored by 13. They've won 7 in a row. Dan.
Yeah, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills to complete this sweep as well of the year. I mean, both games they played this season in the regular were close, but Tua was there. Tua looks to probably not be playing in this game, and
Tua is out. He's ruled out.
Yeah, Tua is out. Sorry, Tua's out, and I think with the DeMar Hamlin thing, I think this Bills team is really motivated, and they got a lot on their mind. They got a lot to play for here, and I think they take care of business.
Yeah, I thought that the Patriots played offensively one of the better games of the year in a very hostile environment in Buffalo this last weekend, and just came up short because the Bills are able to beat in a multitude of different ways, and it just seems like that crowd right now is raucous, and that team's playing for a multitude of reasons. Obviously, they have Super Bowl aspirations, but also they have a player that had their life threatened. So, Bills seem like the easy play here. And if Skylar Thompson, potentially Yao's ex-girlfriend, potentially, I don't know. If Skylar Thompson's suiting up at quarterback, I like the Bills by more than 13. Give me the Bills massive. I could see 40-10 here.
Yeah, and the universe is crazy. The Buffalo Bills are starting a team that their name starts with D and the Dolphins, just like DeMar does. Prayers up to DeMar. This is the third playoff game of the weekend. DeMar wears number 3. Prayers up, DeMar. Dolphins are outgunned here. They don't have the quarterback. Bills big, Bills small, Bills everything. Bills are winning.
Next game. This one has a lot of Jags Chargers feels. I'm excited for this one.
I'm not. Sorry, I looked at the wrong one. Go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
New York Football Giants playing their savvy road postseason game, which we know they win a lot of those. They're traveling to Minnesota. Minnesota is favored by 3 points. Okay. The Giants have won. They've lost one. Sorry. They're on a 1-game losing streak. The Vikings are on a 1-game winning streak. So neither team's quote unquote hot. Vikings had a really good season, but so did the Giants. Brad, I'll let you start here.
Both these teams have made a living by winning close games. So
Isn't that something?
On the spread, I'll take the Giants in terms of betting +3. But when it comes to the money line, I'll still take the Giants. I like Brian Daboll. I think the defenses are better. I think over the past month of football, some teams have shown if you are willing to use every resource to make life hell for Justin Jefferson, they don't have another answer. I think defensively, they give Kirk Cousins problems. He's in an isolated game, all eyes on him. He's struggled in those. Although Daniel Jones isn't the best, I think Saquon Barkley is healthy off of a week's rest coming into this game against a weaker D-line. The Vikings D-line hasn't been great. They've got Zadarius Smith, Danielle Hunter, but the interior defensive line hasn't played great. This New York Giants offensive line loves to push forward, loves to push teams backwards. I think the running game carries them. The Vikings were in a whiteout on Christmas or Thanksgiving. I don't remember when they played last, but it took a 61-yard field goal at the gun. So these teams are close. I like the Giants. Give me the upset. If the Vikings win, I'm not going to be shocked. There's going to be some upsets in this playoffs, though. But I agree personally. This is one of the 3 games I believe will be really close. But I like the New York Giants. I like Saquon Barkley. Go.
Dan?
Yeah, I'm with Brad here. The Giants have been here before. They were the team that lost by that 61-yard field goal to the Vikings. The Vikings defense is kind of gross to me, and I think the Skull Nation is going to Skull Nation. I think we're going to see the typical Vikings, choke when it matters the most. It's amazing to me that they're 13-4, and while it's not a lot, they're -3 in point differential on the year. And I just think that the Giants are just primed here for this upset. And I think the Giants repay this in full and beat them by a field goal. And I think this isn't close. And like Brad says, this could go probably the Vikings' way just as well as the Giants. Either way, it's going to be a tight-knit game. And I'll ride out with the G-Man here.
You're going to be mad because you wanted us to pick the Vikings, aren't you?
No, I was shocked that I wasn't the only one that picked the Jags, and all 3 of us did. Now I'm shocked I'm the only one picking the Vikings. Sorry, the Giants aren't going to blow out the Vikings. And let me check my notes. Is the Vikings record in 1-score games? Oh, that's right. They're undefeated. Yeah, I like the Vikings here. I think they're more talented. I think they have the better running back. No shot at Barkley, but I think Dalvin Cook's better. They have the better receiving core. They have the better quarterback. They have the better team. The coaches are both good. Both Brian Daboll, as great as he is getting the credit, and he should give him all his flowers. Kevin O'Connell has been fantastic. He took over a great roster that was led by a great coach and made them better. He needs some flowers. Justin Jefferson will have a bounce-back game. I like the Vikings here. Close. Typical of them. 30-27, high scoring, big time. Give me Kirk to drop 30 in a prime time. It'll be watched. 4:30.
It's funny you say 30-27. The over-under is 48. I'm taking the under. I think Giants win 17-10.
I think both 17. You think the Vikings score 10 points?
I really do. I think the defense has it in them. It's crazy, but I'm just saying, if you're willing to bracket Justin Jefferson's safety over the top, even triple him, this defensive line has played really well once all their starters have come together. They're going to run the ball. They're going to be taking a lot of time off the clock. I don't have much paper analysis to convey my message. I just think that even if it's a little higher scoring, 24-14, that's 48. That's still the under. It's 48.5. I like the under in this one. Again, I think it's low scoring, but the Giants defense, I think, gives them real problems.
Any rebuttals, Dan? Or are we moving on?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm ready to move.
Next game here.
Bunch of phonies here.
The Baltimore Ravens.
Phonies.
Are traveling to Cincinnati.
To get their ass kicked.
On Sunday Night Football to play the Bengals. Let's give you this here.
Ugly.
The Bengals have won 8 in a row. They were leading with the ball in the first quarter against the Bills, too, and that game was canceled. So keep that in mind. The Ravens have lost 2 in a row. And honestly, since they lost Lamar Jackson, it's hard to really gauge them as a team. It
No,
doesn't
it's not.
look
They're bad.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't look like Lamar Jackson's going to come out in this game. It looks like he's going to sit out, which will be the number one quarterback carousel move, in my opinion, after the season. We'll talk about it. I can't wait to talk Derek Carr and Tom Brady and Lamar Jackson. A lot of guys, Jimmy
Aaron
Garoppolo.
Rodgers.
But Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, is going to headline that entire group.
Yeah.
Because I think he has the most potential of anybody that's going to play 5 more years. I think that's where Lamar's at. But I don't see him playing in this game. I'll start. Bengals by a lot. By a lot.
Hey,
Not because the Ravens defense is trash, because it's not. This Bengals team feels slighted. Out of their control, they feel slighted. Also, this Ravens team does not have the quarterback play to go toe-to-toe with the Bengals. Give me the Bengals.
yeah, I'll just go next real quick. The over-under is 40. I personally think the Bengals could hit that themselves this game.
Yeah,
I think it get ugly. They're gonna unleash on the Bengals a lot of pent-up frustration. The Ravens are just outmatched. I think the Patriots, I think the Steelers, I think there's a couple teams that this would have been a more fun matchup, but the Ravens started well. Why is that? Because Lamar Jackson was their quarterback. He's not right now. End of story. I just think they're outmanned, they're outgunned. If the Ravens played perfect football, the Bengals could play B- football and still win close. I just think that the Bengals are just that much better as a team. And, I don't have much more to add on this one.
Yeah, very, very short and sweet. Bengals, they haven't lost since Halloween. No Lamar. Safe to say the Bengals will win this one.
And I hate that I love Joe Burrow so much. I loved him in college. I was annoying that last, year and a half at LSU. Some people may say it's despicable because of my background right now, but the Bengals are 100% the team I'm pulling for to win the Super Bowl. I would love to see the Bengals win the Super Bowl.
We're going to get to that in a second. So real quick. So January 3rd of 2021, it was Joe Burrow's rookie season. He was not playing. He had a torn ACL. The Ravens won 38-3 in Cincinnati. Since that point, Joe Burrow beat the Ravens 41-17, 41-21. This past October, he lost 19-17. Not really sure what happened in that. I don't quite remember it. But then most recently, the last week of the year, they won 27-16. Struggled in the second half, but in the first half did anything they really wanted to. I just think Bengals are just too much. Even on really what you just said, on a B- day, it seems like they're better than the Ravens.
Lamar makes this a different game, unfortunately, for Ravens. Like, my analysis that I've said on the Ravens is kind of like me just kind of shitting on them, to be honest with you. But again, they're on their backup quarterback. And it just so happens this may be one of the top 3 teams in the league that are reliant on who their quarterback is.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Next game here, last game. I hate that it's a Monday night. Monday night, ABC/ESPN 8:15. The Dallas Cowboys are traveling to Tampa to play the Buccaneers. Cowboys are favored by 2.5. I'm going to start here. I have a couple things I want to say. First off, massive fail by the NFL to put this as the Monday nighter. A couple of years ago, the most watched non-Super Bowl game was the Cowboys and Raiders on Thanksgiving, and then it was beaten again this year by the Cowboys and somebody else on Thanksgiving. Okay. The Cowboys in a Tom Brady and a 425 on Sunday in a playoff game, that screams 45 million people to me. That screams 50 million people. I mean, literally, I think it's a failed opportunity. Regardless, let me say this. I have 2 proclamations for this game. Tom Brady at home in a playoff game, I can't root against him. I think that's the play here. The Cowboys lose playoff games. Tom Brady wins them. Tom Brady's at home. It seems like the play. If the Cowboys beat Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, I don't know that the Cowboys will lose again until the Super Bowl. That's where I feel of this team. I feel like the only thing holding this team back is literally their postseason record itself. The Cowboys lose playoff games. It's what they do. If they can beat Tom Brady and the Bucs in Tampa and move on, I feel really good about the Cowboys moving forward against any other team. But I'm not sure they even beat Tom Brady and the Bucs. It's just the Cowboys don't win playoff games, and Tom Brady does. I'm taking Brady and the Bucs close, 27-24. Dan, I'll let you go next.
Yeah, it's hard not to pick Tom Brady in a playoff game, especially the Dallas Cowboys, who are notable choke artists, and Dak Prescott hasn't been playing the greatest football. He's been turning over a lot lately, and while the Cowboys have a phenomenal backfield, I just don't think that they're going to be enough to support number 4 here for the Cowboys. I think a couple turnovers. I think this is going to be one of the ugliest games this weekend to watch. Personally, I think the unders to play here. I think that Tom Brady is going to go 8-0 against Dallas all time after this weekend, and I'm going to take Tampa Bay in a close, ugly.
Yeah, I don't have too much more to add. I agree with what you guys said. I kind of like Tampa as well. Tom Brady 7-0. They took kind of a week off. Then they played one half. Mike Evans gets back on track. Tom Brady looks good. The defense is playing good. Dak's turning the ball over left and right. They're good off of a loss. But, man, how are you supposed to bet against Tom? I mean, I think I was 14 the last time I bet against Tom Brady in a postseason. Like, you just don't do it. When they lose, they lose. Maybe it's to a team, but, you could say, like Jeff, if the Cowboys beat the Bucs, I don't know if they lose again. What happens if the Bucs beat the Cowboys? Do you think they're afraid of the Eagles?
No.
Then the Bucs become really scary, like in a controversial or in the opposite way.
Yeah.
So this game is fun because I feel like whoever wins this game, you can write a narrative that it really flips the NFC. Like they're two totally different teams. However, Dan, with betting, I do think the under is the route. And on mine and Dan's picks, Jaguars, Giants, Bucks, 3 underdogs outright on the money line. Parlay it. You can win some good money on Monday night.
That completes the playoff picture. So I have 2 questions for each of you.
I got one thing before you ask these questions.
Hit me.
I do want to pay homage to the first round buys. The Eagles had a tremendous record.
Yeah.
We did prove that Gardner Minshew, it was not the system. Jalen Hurts is a dog. A.J. Brown came in and proved what the Titans had.
He put them over the top.
Yeah, along with Derrick Henry. Everyone wanted to crown Derrick Henry. He's it. He's the reason they had that guy running routes. A.J. Brown, he's a dog.
Yep.
And then to the AFC. I want to give flowers to Patrick Mahomes, maybe this year's MVP. He's really taken the league by storm. And in 6 years, I want you guys to listen to his numbers real quick. He has 2,509 completions, 27,548 yards, 193 touchdowns, 10 playoff wins, and 2 Super Bowl rings. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That's Brady after 40. He's beating the Cowboys on Monday night. Those were Brady's numbers post 40 since 2017. 6 years. Those are Brady's numbers.
Going to make Jeff blush.
He is far from washed. They are beating the Cowboys. However, Patrick Mahomes, 1,985 completions, 24,000 yards, 192 touchdowns, 8 playoff wins, 1 ring. Nothing to bat an eye at. He is running the AFC. It goes through the Chiefs. Let's not forget that. We can get on the Bills. We can get on Joe Burr, Joe Cool. It runs through the Chiefs. Once they're beaten, then it's fair game. But I just wanted to throw that stat out there because, people will get on board about Patrick Mahomes. Tom Brady has been lighting up the league this year as well. The Buccaneers are far from shot fighters because I feel like with their record, that's what people think this is. The Bucs are shot fighters. They limped in. Now, this is a team that struggled in the regular season with a new head coach and injuries to their weapons and Godwin coming back off an injury. No Antonio Brown who produced. No Gronk who produced. Their defense loses players. They lost their monster D-line. They lose a Pro Bowl offensive lineman. And here they are hosting a playoff game, and I don't think the Cowboys want a part of it. So that was just a little smoke and mirrors for me to drop that little Tom Brady stat. He is the GOAT. Let's put some money on the GOAT because it could be the last time we get a chance to.
Yeah, now Jeff won't be able to stand up for a few minutes, so whatever. But
I thought he might pass out.
As a Raiders fan, I'm okay if the Chiefs make a deep run here, as long as Brittany Mahomes stays home with the kids and she's not any part of the telecast or on social media after the game. I'm all for it.
Dan, I need your. I'm not asking who's winning the Super Bowl, but I need your Super Bowl representations. Your predictions here. Bengals, Eagles?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Dan, Bengals, Eagles. Brad.
Bengals, 49ers.
Bengals, 49ers.
God, I see. There's part of me that's like, man, Jeff, like Dan just took my picks. But I really like this 49ers team. But I like Jalen Hurts over Purdy in that crunch moment. But the defense of the Eagles, as good as the team's been, they've been a little sus. I love that 49ers roster, top to bottom. And I love the Bengals.
He's healthy under center, I'd go Niners.
If who was?
If Jimmy G was healthy, I'd go Niners.
Color me crazy, but I like Brock. I like Brock a lot. All right, Jeff.
It's a clean sweep. It's a clean sweep for the AFC. I have the Bengals as well.
Put the house on, baby.
I have the Bengals as well. And I have a little twist. I have the winner of the Cowboys-Bucks game. Because I don't know. I can't go against Brady. So I think if Brady wins one, I like him to win another and then another. But I also think if the Cowboys can win one playoff game, that's enough to literally get that monkey off their back. I personally think they are better than the Niners, and I think they're better than the Eagles, and I think they're better than the Vikings and the Giants. I think they are the best team in the NFC. But they're known for losing playoff games. If they can win one, I think they can win more. Give me the Bengals and the Bucks in the Super Bowl as my pick. Who are you rooting for, Brad?
Oh man, I'm rooting for the Bengals in the AFC.
In the NFC, who are you rooting for? The Eagles?
Yeah, I have to look to the Eagles.
Through, right? You got to see it through.
Yeah, I've liked them a lot. I will say my preseason Super Bowl prediction was Eagles Chargers. So there is part of me because I love Herbert. Everyone knows I really love Herbert. I can't stand Brandon Staley. But I think the Bengals, ever since I first watched Joe Burrow play, the more I learn about him, the more he answers questions. The window's my whole career, the cigars, the coach
that's
speech.
Money.
I can't. It's not that I can't bring myself to not like Joe Burrow. I love Joe Burrow. My favorite quarterback in the league.
Yeah. Dan, who are you rooting for in the AFC and the NFC?
I'm again rooting for the Bengals, and honestly, the NFC, I couldn't care less.
Okay.
I tend to sway towards Brady if he was on the Patriots, just because of my my relationship with my grandfather and him being a Patriots fan. So obviously that's null and void right now with him being on Tampa. But yeah, I honestly with the NFC, I couldn't care less. I'd probably, if I had to choose, I can't really choose one. I just doesn't.
That's fair. You're indifferent.
I like the Giants too. I love Saquon.
Real quick, if I could pick a second team, I'd probably pick two AFC teams. The other team would probably be for me the Jaguars. I grew up kind of being a Mark Brunell fan.
Okay.
So I would be happy to see the Jaguars do something too.
First off, anytime a team can win their first ever Super Bowl, I think that's cool. And that would be Jacksonville. So, for me, my rooting is the teams I'm picking. Obviously, I'm the biggest Tom Brady homer on this planet, unapologetic about it. If me and him were playing a game of Go Fish, I'd root for him. So obviously I'm cheering for him. And then on the AFC side, Brad, you said it. I mimic it. Joe Burrow is probably my favorite non-Patriot, non-Tom Brady, since probably Charles Woodson. I'm not a big follower / favorite player of other players that don't play for New England. I've had a couple. Mike Evans was one for a minute. Charles Woodson was probably always my favorite, like my go-to. Devin Hester too, but Yeah, I think Joe Burrow's my favorite non-Patriot right now in the league. Obviously not Tom Brady, but Joe
Yeah.
Burrow is just what he's what you want. He's literally
Yeah.
the quarterback that you want running your team, like both on the mic, both on the field. You just know that you're not getting a quitter. You're getting all in every single down, gives you a chance to win. Yeah, I think Burrow's great.
Yeah, also, like a lot of people listen and maybe be like, how do you not have one of your three going Chiefs or Bills? You know, they're the big three.
Mhm.
I will say, I think the Chiefs and the Bengals are the top two, and the NFL does it again. You know, DeMar wears number 3. I think the Bills will be number 3 in the AFC. You know, prayers up. But I just think that the Bengals and the Chiefs, for multiple reasons, are better than the Bills. Allen's got the talent, but the situations, the picks, even against the Patriots, they spot him two kickoff returns for touchdowns, and he almost, blows a chance to eliminate the Patriots. I love Josh Allen. I think he means well, but unfortunately, he's going to play Big Ben to Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, in terms of the structure of the AFC. I think Josh Allen was a Big Ben comp, more athletic, extremely strong arm, raw talent, big body. He might get one or two, but he'll be up against it for his entire career with Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. Hell, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert are coming up too. So it's the AFC's wild. You got Kenny Pickett as well.
Dan, anything else?
Yeah, quick question. Off the top of your guys' head, I closed my computer down, so I stopped looking. What's the most viewed Super Bowl of all time? Do you remember?
That's a really good question.
I can look it up quick.
So I'll follow up with another question is like, do you think that whatever that record is, do you think it is broken if the Cowboys make it to the Super Bowl since it's America's team and a lot of viewership? Do you think that potentially is set the record?
So the top one all time is Patriots Seahawks.
Yep.
Okay.
That one came down to the wire too, so that makes sense. It probably had just from the start to the finish. It was a close game, tons of viewers. To your credit, if the Cowboys make the Super Bowl, it would absolutely draw a massive number. It would draw an even bigger number if they somehow were to go up against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I guess that would be the only one on that side, really, that would draw another rating. Brady or the Niners out of the NFC. Brady's Niners, Cowboys out of the NFC, and then really and this isn't a shot at anybody in the AFC, I just don't think they have the drawing ability that Mahomes has yet. Burrow, I think, can get there.
Bills, because, DeMar.
Yeah, that makes a little sense too. But to answer your question, if the Cowboys get in the Super Bowl, it's going to draw a massive rating. But yeah.
By the way, you said cheering for anybody who wins their first Super Bowl, like the Jags. I don't believe that the Bengals have ever won a Super Bowl. They just got to and the Bills have the Four Falls of Buffalo, but they've never won a Super Bowl.
Same. I believe the Vikings have never won one.
The Ravens have won one. I'm just thinking AFC Chargers. Have they ever won a Super Bowl?
No.
They haven't won one. So right there you have the Bills, the Bengals, the Jaguars. That's your 2, 3, and 4 seed right there. Chargers, who are your 5 seed, have never won it. Who's the 7th seed? Yeah, the Dolphins they've won it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a real chance we could have a Super Bowl where whoever wins it, it's their first one, or as long as the Cowboys or 49ers don't win it, because I'm tired of teams having 6,
Probably
enough.
It probably won't happen, but if the Jags somehow pull it off, that'd be kind of cool because this is the same year that their first ever Hall of Famer got in, right? So
that's great.
Yeah.
You also have this is the first year since 2000 where the Packers, Patriots, and Steelers all missed the postseason, and 2 of them were the 7th seed going into the final weekend, and one of them was one game. I mean, it was just crazy how close they all were. But since 2000, I was 5.
But Tom Brady's in, so it's all normal.
You're right. How could I forget?
Dan, anything else?
I'm good, brother. I'm good.
Brad, anything else?
No, man. We're on to Manchester United, the Penguins, Texas basketball. We're going on to the next sport, but I'll be tuning in all these playoff games. And again, if you guys are trying to make some money, Giants, Jags, Bucks, 3 outright underdogs. Let's win some money.
Listen, this is episode 200. We don't get to episode 300 without you guys. Thank you for listening. Episode 201 will come at you next week. Okay, we're not going nowhere. Okay, the climb is here. Appreciate all the support. Hopefully, you guys give this a listen. Hopefully, if you're hearing me right now, you are listening. Live shows are probably done for the year. It's just kind of where it landed. And unfortunately, we didn't get to crack one in. My voice is, I don't know if you can tell, there's a slight difference, but it has slightly recovered over the last 4 days. But it's been a rough couple of days. But
Also, if you guys know anybody, friend of a friend that works for Twisted Tea, let them know we're looking for a sponsor. I think I'd rep them well. I'm just saying.
You do.
Just a little. If you made it to the end of the podcast, holler at them, let them know. Just let them know. It's a great drink.
And real quick too, for the listeners, whatever, like if you listen on Spotify or iTunes, whatever, give a 5-star rating, whatever. We'll get more, hopefully, more ears and eyeballs on everything, and I do whatever as well. And I mean, this is fun to do, and being part of the 200th episode is awesome. And I appreciate Jeff for sending the olive branch a couple years ago to get me on to do the Michigan side of everything like that. And as the listeners for that edition of the podcast know, Michigan football is really our religion here, and between Jeff and I especially. And so we just enjoy talking about it. And with football season being over, still hoops that we're going to be chit chatting about, and the pod's not going anywhere. So I'm all in, man. This is awesome.
Hoops, March Madness, soccer, hockey, it's all in full swing. Draft will be here in April before you know it. If you're into it, USFL and XFL are going to be carrying us till training camp. There's things going on. Women's World Cup, shout out USA. We're coming for another World Cup this summer. So there's things on, boys. Baseball starting up soon. So sports is a around the clock thing. But let's enjoy football while we still have it for the rest of this year, because I'm going to be a champion here in a couple weeks.
It's wild card weekend. It's the NFL playoffs. Is our favorite time of the year. If your favorite team's playing this weekend, I hope they win. We're out. Real talk.
Real talk.